Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the top 20 books I need to read in 2020. I've seen people do this for years, the top 18 books to do in 2018 or to read in 2018, top 19 books to read in 2019. Figured I'd join the party. We're going to do 20 books, some of them I own, some of them are new releases, some of them I just don't own but they've already been released. I am trying to get through a lot of my bookshelf, so a lot of these are going to be backlist titles, some are not. So let's just get right into it. The first book I want to read in 2020 is Stardaughter. I can't pronounce the author's name. I'm not going to try to. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody by pronouncing it wrong. Stardaughter. I'm not 100% sure what this is about. I know it's a fantasy. I don't think it's an urban fantasy. I think it's a fantasy. And yeah, the cover reminded me of Alina Starkov from Shadow and Bone, so I was vibing with it. Is that who it was? Alina? I think that was her name. Then, to no surprise to any of you, I have Infinity Sun by Adam Silvera. This is Adam Silvera's first fantasy debut. He's been writing, what's the word? Contemporaries. And this is his first fantasy novel. I'm very excited to read it. Apparently it's got a lot of LGBTQ+ representation and more things like that. I think it's an urban fantasy, if I remember correctly. A lot of these I don't know a whole lot about, but I'm trying to get better about giving y'all synopses, so we're working on that. Then I have Frankly in Love by David Yoon. This came out towards the end of 2019, and it follows our main character, whose name is Frank Lee. That's his Americanized name. He does have an American name and a Korean name. He's Korean American. He was raised in Southern California, so he doesn't have a whole lot of Korean heritage in his family. He didn't grow up with the Korean heritage. However, his parents still want him to settle down with a nice Korean girl and kind of follow that idea, if that makes sense. And Frank falls in love for the very first time. And so he's having to kind of battle with these traditional ideals that his parents have given him, and his parents came here to give him a better life, so he really wants to please them. However, he also wants to live a bountiful life or plentiful life for himself. So he's kind of battling, you know, the family ideals versus what he really wants as an American teen. So yeah, kind of those two identities and battling with them and figuring out what is what, if that makes sense. So yeah, Frankly in Love by David Yoon. Very excited about this one. Then I have Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. The sequel for this released very recently, and I've heard amazing things about this one, and I've been wanting to pick it up for a while. I just never have. I don't know, there's like so many books that I say I want to read, and so this, you know, you can't read them all in like one day, you know, as much as I wish I could. I'm not 100% sure what this is about. I know a little bit, but I'm gonna read some of the synopsis so I can give you a better explanation, because I know the explanation I could give is not gonna be very good. Each year, 8 beautiful girls are chosen as paper girls to serve the king. It's the highest honor they could hope for and the most demeaning. This year, there's a 9th, and instead of paper, she's made of fire. Lei, I believe is how you pronounce the character's name mentioned here, is of the paper caste, the lowest in Ikara. See, these have so many names I can't pronounce, I'm so sorry. Even so, rumors of her golden eyes have piqued the king's interest, and so she's ripped from her home and taken to the opulent palace, a gilded prison, her life now beholden to the demon king's every whim. But as Lei dreams of escape, she does the unthinkable and she falls in love. Her forbidden romance, enmeshed with an explosive plot that threatens the king's very reign, will force Lei to decide just how far she's willing to go to fight for her freedom. This sounds beautiful. That synopsis was gorgeous. The writing was phenomenal in the synopsis, so I'm very excited about this. In fact, reading that synopsis probably bumped this up in my reading schedule. Next up I have Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, and this follows the main character, who I've forgotten the first name of, Audrey, and she's this Victorian woman, and this is kind of similar to Frankly in Love. This is kind of a mystery that is symbolic of the actual Jack the Ripper cases, and she's been groomed like this whole life to be this perfect Victorian woman. But she has a different plan for herself, and she starts doing, I believe, autopsy, and she is trying to figure out something with the Jack the Ripper case, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. So it's kind of like a mystery. This comes highly recommended to me by one of my friends, so I'm very excited to read it. She said it was like kind of gruesome, I think. I also heard that Ninth House was super gory, and I didn't think it was that gory, Maybe that's just me. Maybe my gore meter is like lower than most. I don't know. And I have King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This has been on my TBR since I purchased it. I have been wanting to read this so bad, and I don't know why I haven't. I think it's because I'm like intimidated by how large it is. But this is the first book in the Nikolai duology, following one of the main characters, Nikolai, from Siege and Storm, which is the second book in the Shadow and Bone trilogy. But he's also featured in Crooked Kingdom. Where's Crooked Kingdom? Oh my god, I got scared. The Crooked Kingdom and Six of Crows books. He's featured in those as well. But yes, this is his own duology. I believe you do have to have read both the Six of Crows duology and the Shadow and Bone trilogy to read this. However, I'm not sure. Fact check me, if you will, if you're interested. Double check and make sure. But yes, the Nikolai duology. This is the first book. I don't know when the second book is coming out. Hopefully it's this year. That way when I read this, I can read the next one. That'd be awesome. Then I have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I recently found out that I really like fairy novels. That's a lie. I really liked the Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy. So maybe I won't like this. I just saw fairies and I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. I have heard very good things about, I think this is a trilogy, but like I hear good things about like Jude and Cardan, or maybe I hear bad things about some of the characters, but people get invested in the characters, and that's what I like. So I know it's got fairies, and I know it's got a character named Jude, and I know it's got a character named Cardan. And that's kind of all I want to know going into it, so I'm not going to read you the synopsis on this one. Sorry. Next up, we have Serpent and Dove by Shelby Marin. I could be pronouncing her name wrong, but we have the same first name, so I can pronounce that. This is, I believe, about a witch and a witch hunter, and they're like married or something. A witch and a witch hunter. That can't go well. Fantasy. I know it's got smut in it, because witty novels put it on her smutty shelf, so I don't know. Next up, I'm going to mention the last two new releases that are featured on this list. I also want to mention that I don't know a whole lot about these new releases. First up, we have the Gilded ones. I remember this being kind of advertised as like for fans of the Black Panther. I don't watch Marvel movies, but I think it's an African, maybe tribal. Hopefully I'm not wrong. I don't want to sound offensive. Please know that I'm not trying to offend anybody with these descriptions. I'm just stupid and I don't remember the synopses of these. But I know it's a fantasy, and I think something happens with this group, and like there's the Gilded ones. I don't know. But the cover is gorgeous. So I looked into it a little bit, and then I was like, oh, that kind of sounds interesting. Like an African-based fantasy. I thought that was cool, so I put it on the, the list. Then I have You Had Me at Ola. This sounds like a young adult, I believe. Maybe it's adult. Not 100% sure. Hispanic romance. I'm guessing that based on the title and the cover, but that's all I need to know. The cover is gorgeous. And You Had Me at Ola. Hello? Hello? Ola. That's the first 10. We're halfway through. 10 more to go. Now I gotta look at my shelves and figure out the last 10. I didn't think this video through all that much. This is kind of a grouping. I really want to read all of Cassandra Clare's, or most of Cassandra Clare's writing. She's got a lot. But I do want to get through at least some of it in 2020. We're calling City of Bones a book that I want to read, but just know that I do want to read the whole series. Or I guess series is multiple series. Along those same lines, Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I want to get through this series. I'm actually reading this month. If you didn't see my TBR video, it's linked up in the corner. I'm buddy reading this with Rihanna, so I'm so excited. She loves Throne of Glass, so I'm so excited to read this with her because she loves it, so hopefully I love it too. The next book I have is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. I bought this bargain, but I've heard amazing things about this. Apparently this is kind of dystopian. I'm not sure how I feel about dystopian, but hopefully I like this. It's a dystopian world in which nobody dies, and then there's people called Scythes who like do this test-ish thing to figure out the people who like had death been like an actual thing. In order to control the population, they say, okay, in this world, who would have died? Like, who's stupid enough to get hit by a car type thing. I'm just making that up, but like, you know, they're trying to figure out who actually would have died if death was a real thing in this world. And so it follows this dystopian world. I've heard incredible things about this, and the third book in this just released. I really want to read this. That's the whole point of this video, is books I want to read. Rainbow Rowell's Carry On. Need I say more? I've mentioned this so many times already. You're probably tired of hearing it. All my friends and my sister want me to read it. I'm gonna try and read it. Harry Potter retelling, quote unquote? I don't know. And I have The Lost Hero. This is the first book in the Heroes of Olympus series, but I want to work through more of Rick Riordan's writing. I just finished Percy Jackson, and this is apparently the next series that you're supposed to read. So that's what I have on my shelves. I have quite a few of them. Oh, they're down there. You can't see them. I have quite a few of them. So I kind of want to get through more of his writing as well. Another one you're probably tired of hearing me talk about, Eliza and Her Monsters. Apparently, if you liked Fangirl, you'll like this. So this follows our main character, Eliza. She's kind of shy, kind of sheltered, but online, she's like a completely different person. She writes this comic series thing, and then apparently the biggest fan of her novel, or the biggest fan fiction writer, or something like that, transfers to her school. And so it's the battle of her having this different online persona than the one she has in real life. And so she's kind of battling those two personalities, an inward conflict, if you will. For purely sentimental reasons, I want to read Before I Go by Riley Weston. This has been on a couple of my TBRs, but there's no audiobook of this, so I had a very hard time reading it last year because I am not a huge physical reader, as you know. But my good friend Alex, you can't see it because of the ring light. There you go. My good friend Alex sent me this book, and she sent me a cute little card with it, and you still can't read it. She also wrote in shiny pen. There you go. Apparently this is a very hard-hitting book. I'm excited. I hope I can read it this year. She gave this to me like 2 years ago. It's a touching story of family, love, and the will of human spirit. It centers on the relationship of Annie, an ice skating coach who gave up on her dream long ago, and a young Olympic hopeful, Madison Henry. What makes this team different from the rest is Annie and Madison also happen to be mother and daughter. Oh. Madison's been skating as long as she's been walking. She's living her dream on the way to the Olympics. She's only had one friend since she was 6 years old, and his name is Jack. And she's oblivious that Jack has feelings for her. This is actually one of my current library rentals, so I'll be getting through this a little bit quicker. But The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I've been loving their adult writing, so I'm very excited to read some more of it. And that reminds me, I have a hold at the library I need to go pick up for another one of their novels. I'll lump these together because I kind of want to read both. We have Geekerella and The Princess and the Fangirl. This is, I believe, well, the first one is a Cinderella retelling following like fandom and a Comic-Con-esque type world situation. Not world, it's contemporary. And then this is the sequel. So lastly, if not, you can count each of these individually and make it equate to 20. The Twisted Tale retellings, I've been trying to get through these forever and I've never done it. I don't know, I've been wanting to read As Old as Time, and then I think I had A Whole New World on a TBR. I've been wanting to read them forever and I just never have. So we're gonna change that in 2020. You can hold me accountable. So these are essentially retellings, but they kind of flip it. So for example, Once Upon a Dream is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. It's What If Sleeping Beauty Never Wakes Up. A Whole New World is an Aladdin retelling, and it's What If Aladdin Had Never Found a Lamp. And then As Old as Time is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and it's What If Belle's Mother Killed the Beast. So these are kind of 3 retellings that I've been really wanting to get to. And that way, I've kind of mentioned something of every genre. There we go. Look at me go. I mean, except nonfiction, but I don't read a whole lot of nonfiction. Y'all know that. So yeah, those are my top 20 books to read in 2020. Hopefully I actually mentioned 20. Let me know if you liked any of the books I mentioned and that they should be moved up on my TBR, maybe to February. Let me know down below if you liked any of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in my next one. Happy reading!